Okay. Humanity is being given a choice, and this choice is available to those that have raised their consciousness enough to recognize that things are changing. And there's distrust and fear. They don't trust the government. They don't trust institutions. They don't trust science. And they're in the truth community. And you might think that, oh, the truth's been revealed to me. Oh, look, about the vaccines and all these things. But is truth being revealed, or is it just lies that are being revealed? A revealed lie is not a truth, is it? It's just, he lied to me, or they lied to me. This is a lie. So a lie has been exposed, not the truth. That's the biggest problem with the truth community. Now, it does serve a purpose because people will bounce around in it all over the place, like the raven from Noah's Ark, going backwards and forwards, looking for somewhere to land. There's nowhere to land there. And that, as a result of these realizations, your search will start to narrow down. If you want to see where the lies start, look in the mirror. If you want to see where the truth starts, look in the same mirror. Because it's written in the book. Now, God said, I create darkness, I create light, I create good, I create evil. Straight away, you've got a duality. And when you know fact, not fiction, when you know that God is your brain, and then you can ask yourself the question, is my brain producing good or evil? Am I in darkness or light? Light is revelation, truth. Darkness is ignorance, lies. This is where everything happens. Nothing happens out there. All happens in here. And in here is powered by this. Now, there are two fathers in the Bible. There is the Father. That's the unified field of all those individuals that have raised their consciousness. And it's very powerful. It's not limited. No boundaries. Free. Beyond the ability for the mind to even begin to conceptualize. But then there's the other Father, which is low and little, pretending to be what it can't be, emulating, copying what is above and expressing it below. So the start of everybody's journey will be in darkness. You'll be in your own darkness. Ignorance. But don't be willfully ignorant. Let the foolish do that. So somebody who is recognizing their ignorance will know that something's missing. What's missing? Something's missing. I need to remember something. What member am I missing? And that's how these journeys start. And they start in the dark. They're just not feeling comfortable. Family, friends, work, TV, news, all the old stuff. And doing the same thing, this cyclic, mind-numbing, ritualistic, traditional, garbage. And you'll fucking hate it. Why am I doing this? And that's where it starts. That's, you know, you're recognizing the darkness. And then you start searching. But you don't know what you're looking for. So the world's trained you to look outside. So you're out there, you're looking outside. You're in Babylon. Babel means confusion, and you're in Babylon, looking for the truth in Babylon. You'll come across things like sacred geometry, architecture, street plans. It's all man-made shite. So what if Washington, D.C. is a big Masonic street plan? The same things in Paris, the same things in London, the same things in the Vatican. Who gives a fuck about all that? That was made by people with tools and hammers. It wasn't made in silence. All their stupid temples. Look at the temples of old. The Parthenon. It's a fucking ruin. The ravages of time tearing it down. The vanities of man. The lowly and little consciousness. Look at me, look at me. Look at what I've built. Whilst ignoring the very thing that they occupy. And the wise will start to recognize that the truth is within, because they'll find the truth and they'll be elated. And after a short while, they'll realize that that's not it. Because that elation is fleeting. The truth should come at you like a fucking freight train. And it will upset everything. But these things are very necessary. This is why that character, Jesus, said there will be wars and rumours of wars. Earthquakes in diverse places. Don't look outside, look inside. You know, and the more you start to understand that everything you've learned, everything you tell yourself is just bollocks. And then you recognise it as a story. And it doesn't matter if it's a good story or a bad story. Don't judge yourself. It's just a story. Then you start going within. You don't even know you're meditating sometimes. You just sat there and you just and you just slump and you just shut your eyes and you're gone. And then you come back and you can't shake this feeling. And then you're on YouTube and you stumble across a bearded idiot like me. And there's others. And these individuals seem to be saying the same thing. Go within. The keys to the kingdom are within you. Go within. You start to recognize that all this information you've accrued, you know, since you started your search, you know so many things. Hasn't changed a fucking thing. Nothing's changed. You've just got a head full of knowledge. And then I ask you, what can you do with it? It's when we put the intellect down, the ego intellect, that's meditation, and you start to go within. That's where the gold is. And it's baby steps. This stuff can't be given in the blink of an eye. It would kill you. You would have a psychosis. You'd have a psychotic breakdown. And that happens. That manifests in the world. Religious extremism is an example of that. Stop believing in things. Belief systems. Be life. There's a lie in it. These belief systems. Be lie. Stop believing. It's time to start knowing. And knowing comes from within. That's why I say things like, you'll know and you'll be known. Know thyself. And you turn everything inwards. And that's where the ultimate truth is. I mean, we've got... I encourage people to read this weighty tome. Holy my ass. Listen, it's black. There's no light in a book. None. That's why Jesus hated the scribes. The light that you seek, the truth, is in here. It is nowhere else. Nowhere else. You can't get it from anybody else. They can't give it to you. You have to get it yourself. Now, I encourage people to read this book. Holy my ass. Ignore that. Right? You need to be whole. You are... Your house has two masters. One's darkness, the Apostle Paul, and one's light. You know, that's Jesus, your higher consciousness. It's inside you, and they're fighting it out. Choose. And books like this, religious books, you know, they explain these things, but they've externalized God to fool the people. That's what they've done. And don't read it for understanding. When your master arrives, you'll be taught. You will know, and you will know yourself, because your master is yourself. It was the thing that existed before your ego took residence in the holy place. Now see to it that the ego intellect doesn't turn the holy place into a desolate ruin, like all those ancient temples, all those vanities, utter fucking garbage, whorehouses. Now the book is 66 books, and they're all stories, they're archetypes of the fool's journey and the hero's journey. So the fool would read that book and take, you know, the fool's errand, going to church, being a good Christian, not understanding anything, never chewed the cud, washed along by the decrees and the dogmas. But the hero, the archetypal hero, will chew the cud like a clean animal and part his hoof and walk alone and understand things for himself, taught by himself. God hated Esau but loved Jacob. So Esau is symbolic of low consciousness. He was a wild ass of a man, unruly, idiotic, foolish, impulsive. Whereas Jacob, you know, climbed the ladder and saw God face to face, even wrestled with him. That's meditation. And climbing the ladder is also the kundalini, the sacred secretion. And he overcame, and then he understands, and then his journey carries on. So that's the Old Testament. Testament. Testing mind. Meant means mind. And then you come to the New Testament. The New Testament. See, you're being tested. Fucking challenge accepted. And you'll have to make changes, like not eating meat. And if I get emails about these sort of things, and you might stop for a day or two, and then, I can't, stop being weak. Stop it. To overcome these weaknesses, learn to meditate, because it replaces everything negative about you with something positive. All that shite that you tell yourself, all that shit needs to be cleared out. And only then can you make decisions that benefit you. Love your neighbour as you love yourself. You have to love yourself. What good is it loving everyone else if you feel like shit? What's the point? That's not love, that's parasitism. You're being sucked dry. So how does one learn to love oneself? Meditate. That's where it is. People with various addictions, you can overcome it with meditation. But first and foremost, you'll forgive yourself. You won't charge yourself with being guilty anymore because you didn't do this or you didn't do that for other people. Meeting the demands of others. Why can't they meet the demands for themselves? Won't they take charge for themselves? Won't they take responsibility for the gift of their own life? Why are they relying on me? Why are they relying on government? Or their boss or whatever? Why don't they take responsibility for themselves? Why don't they know themselves? You see how this works? That's what it means to be lost. Don't know who you are. Don't know what you're supposed to be doing. Knocked backwards and forwards by others. And we all have our cross to carry. We all have our bad habits. The things that we might do or say that don't endear us to ourselves or to others. But those are individual things. But you will overcome them. Don't be whipping yourself like some mad religious lunatic. You've seen them in India and in Middle Eastern countries where they have like ropes with razor blades and whipping themselves. What the fuck is that about? Oh, I'm showing that I love God. Well, God's your brain. Fucking have fun with that. And this is about overcoming the adversary within, overcoming the ignorance, looking for the light within. That's where the truth is. It's nowhere else. And if people ask for money with regards to the truth, turn around on your heels, walk away. What's that prick's name? Brian Austin Lambert, and he calls himself 33. Disgusting individual. You can join his website, okay, and he'll tell you how to survive the coming EMPCO. But there's a caveat. You've got to pay him $400. What's that girl's name that's with him? Mia and her new glasses. Couple of fucking arse clowns. Arse hats. No truth in them. Don't waste your time on them. Scum of the fucking earth. Feeding off the fear of others. Parasites. Fucking tapeworms. And if they did have information, and you have to buy it, then would they hold a little bit of information back that's really important just so they could squeeze a little bit of more money out of you? Like, They've been told by a rich man to sell the field, and they've sold the field, but they kept a little bit for themselves. Do you remember that story in the Bible? Where they both got killed for holding back the truth. Mia's new glasses, my ass. And if you're listening to this, Brian Austin Lambert 33, go fuck yourself, scumbag. And don't be fooled by these assholes. So the truth is within you. It's inside you. And when you know it's inside you, you cannot be fooled. Because you know yourself. Your personal Jesus has arrived. Your master is in the house, and he will instruct and guide you. He will teach you lessons. He might let you go off on your own a little bit and you'll fall over, you'll stumble, but he will lift you up. It's the greatest experience. It makes you fearless because you're not worried about consequence. And you certainly don't give two shits about what people think. And the people that don't want to know any of this, leave them to it. Just leave them to it. Walk away. Some of you might struggle with that. Oh, I can't, it's difficult. And meditate. And those difficulties will be taken away from you. Those are the keys. Oh, I can't stop eating meat. Meditate. Flashes of light, messages. You're receiving something, changing the way you think. This isn't about opinions anymore. What was it Plato said? Opinions are the place between ignorance and knowledge. But you need to turn that knowledge into an internal experience. And that begets wisdom. And that, and the journey doesn't really start until Genesis. The serpent going into the garden. The Kundalini. Now your ego intellect, can't raise it. You can sit there and, come on Kundalini, I'm ready. No, this is decided by things higher than your mind. And the people that will be, the people that are looking, they will be in a place of despair, and to the point where they just give up. They surrender. They've had enough. And that's when it happens. When you surrender. When you give up. You chuck the fucking towel in. You've had enough. That's when it happens. Because at that point, your cup is truly empty. And then it can be filled. And then you start to learn these processes. And these processes are revealed in this book. But don't study it. Don't strain over the words. I've said this. I get emails about it asking me about Leviticus 11 and things like that. Don't read it to understand it. Just read the fucking thing like you're reading a menu. Let the words go into you. If you start trying to understand it at that stage of the game, trying to pick it apart, trying to judge it, you'll be judged. Because you'll get caught up in this horrible thing. It's a story about you. So when you're reading about Moses going up and down the mountain, that's you. When you're reading about Moses' brother, Aaron, that's you. When you're reading about the Israelites in the wilderness And they're all worshipping the golden calf, which means, incidentally, they are having orgies. That's you. When you read about Noah, that's you. When you read about Lot's wife, that's you. When you read about Jesus walking on the water, that's you. When you read about the disciples that are in the boat and they're talking about the bread, oh no, we didn't bring any bread, that's you. When Jesus is giving the disciples a bollocking, saying, if I wanted bread, I'd fucking make bread, you morons. That's you. And you know, when God speaks, that's you. But you wouldn't know any of these things if you haven't read the book. You don't have to read the book because it will be revealed to you anyway, but it just makes it easier. It's a guide. It's a psychological, physiological guidebook. So when things happen, you can go, oh shit, is that what it was? That was the Kundalini, or, all right, that reminds me of that. So your story in your life is now becoming applicable to the book. And then it becomes like a guidebook. And of course it's been corrupted. That's why I say don't study the fucking thing, just read it. Your higher self is the truth. It knows the truth. You just need to know your higher self. Know thyself. And then you'll see through all the bullshit and you'll laugh. Because it's ridiculous. All their bowing down. All their stupid buildings. All their fucking ridiculous costumes. Their stupid lord. It's enough to make you puke. Watching people lower themselves for something that is, it doesn't exist. It's just a program that's been inserted. And they're running it out. Begging for Jesus to appear in the sky to save me. Even being like saved smacks of being so helpless and being so mentally redundant that you have to rely on some space being that's going to appear in the clouds. There is an element of truth to it. But when you read the book, it says the truth is within you. But all these religious people, they look at the clouds. It's just... And then you start to understand the allegories, the metaphors, the beautiful simplicity of it. You see Jesus in the clouds. So the sky is consciousness and the clouds are your thoughts. You're Jesus, pretending to be a fucking idiot. It's true. But you're not. You're a fucking genius. Because God is with you. But you've got to find that. So make a choice. Choose. There is a window of opportunity. The window's here, by the way. To choose. And the choice is simple. Darkness or light. When you're in the dark, things don't grow. There's no development. But when you're in the light, you start to bud. Like Aaron's rod started to bud. Aaron's rod is DNA. Aaron means enlightened. Well, it's Aaron, Moses' brother. And you're in the light and you start to grow. And Jesus says things like, don't worry about the clothes you're going to wear tomorrow. He's not talking about these fucking things. When Jesus says, my burden is light, is he speaking figuratively? Is it a metaphor, or is he implying something? Plasma bodies? There's only one way to find out, isn't there? Choose. Darkness. Ignorance. Stunted growth. Lowly and little. Or light. Lifted up. Growing. Expanding. There is no darkness in light. No darkness in light. It can't be. It's impossible. So choose.